Happy Financial Friday, everybody. We're out here in the wind like it's Chicago, but we're really downtown. Just a few topics we're going to go over today. I won't hold you long. A couple things been on my mind, so I figured go ahead and throw it out there. First of all, thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate everybody who watches. Once again, look for us on Spectrum. Financial Fridays is coming to Spectrum. Look for some new episodes of Real Facts. I was with the editing team on Monday, and we're almost ready to put some new stuff and format it for Facebook. So with that being said, we'll go over the topics for today. And the one thing I want to talk about is a trust. There's been a lot of talk about trust lately, and I just want to get it out there and break down different types of trust and what is a trust. So a trust is basically where is a third party holds assets on behalf of the beneficiary. So that's really what a trust is. There are two types of categories for trust. You have revocable trust, also known as a living trust, and you have irrevocable trust. So I'm going to explain the difference. The revocable trust is the living trust. This will let you manage assets while you're alive. So with this being said, when you pass on, you can pass things on that's in the trust. Now, what people do as far as assets, you may have a property and put it in the LLC, put that property in the LLC, and take that LLC and throw it into the trust. That's just an example of what it could be. Now, for a living trust, you can make changes with a living trust. There are things you can change. You can change, if you have to change trustees, that can be done, different things of that nature. That is a revocable trust. Okay? Now, for an irrevocable trust, generally it can't be changed. Just throwing it out there once it's created. It can't be canceled, anything like that, because you surrender control of the assets when it's an irrevocable trust. Okay? You surrender that control. So, with that being said, the reason somebody would get an irrevocable trust is to remove some stuff from a taxable estate and give you some protection. So what it's going to protect you from is the estate tax. That is the purpose of the irrevocable trust. One of the purposes, but the main purpose when I see people get it, I'm sure there are some other reasons, but for both trusts, even with the revocable trust, there's a strategy that in that trust, when somebody passes away, some of that life insurance policy goes back to the trust, especially if it's a family trust. But that's something different for a different conversation. Now, there are some trusts I did not talk about, but I will talk about next week. There is a testamentary trust. Say it 5 times. There's a specialized trust, there's a charitable trust, and there's an irrevocable life insurance trust. I will talk about those next week, so look for that. I'm going to definitely touch on that, and I'm going to recap the trust because something came up where we need to talk about it so we're educated on it. I always say you should be a little smarter by just watching me. And not that I'm so smart, it's just I know my field, that's all. And so one other thing that we're going to talk about while we're here is credit card debt. And the credit card debt numbers came out, and right now it's at $1.25 trillion with a T. The average household carries carries a balance of $6,519.73. Right now, there are 1.2 billion credit cards active in use. The average person has around 3 to 4 credit cards. That's part of the problem. You should only have 2. So it's went up, but it went up because everything else has went up. So that's understandable. We did look for some numbers yesterday. Last week I talked about some numbers for the finance report. There's some interesting tidbits of information. Verizon is planning to lay off right around 2,000 to 3,000 workers. One other thing that's interesting, SpaceX stock keeps dropping. It's dropped down 45%. I think last time I checked, it was like a little over $200 a share. Those are just tidbits of information that we have. So that is today's Financial Friday. I always thank everybody for watching. And as always, stay on point. Look for us next week to have a second part to talk about trust. Okay? Stay on point.